Spilled juice and a familiar face. Lily clutched her purse strap, the synthetic leather digging into her palm. Today was it. First day at Sparkle Designs. She'd chosen a crisp white blouse and a knee-length floral skirt, hoping to project an image of professional enthusiasm. Apparently, the universe had other plans. As she navigated the bustling lobby, a man in a blindingly bright yellow suit bumped into her, sending the paper cup of apple juice she'd foolishly balanced on top of her purse flying. The juice arced through the air, a golden comet of impending doom, before splattering across the front of her pristine skirt. "Oh, I am so sorry," the man boomed, his voice as loud as his attire. He flapped a paisley handkerchief ineffectually at the spreading stain. "Terribly sorry, young lady. I'm late for a very important thing." He scurried off, leaving Lily staring at the sticky mess blooming across her skirt like a grotesque flower. Panic tightened her chest. She blotted at the stain with a tissue, but it only seemed to make things worse. The white fabric was now a mottled canvas of yellow and dampness. Great. First impressions were clearly overrated. She considered running, abandoning the whole internship and hiding under her duvet forever. A familiar voice cut through her despair. "Lily? Lily Hernandez, is that you?" She looked up, blinking. Standing a few feet away, her blonde hair gleaming under the lobby lights, was Chloe. Relief washed over Lily so powerfully she nearly sagged. "Chloe. Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" Chloe rushed over, her expression morphing from surprise to concern as she took in the juice-stained skirt. "Wow, what happened? Did a juice bomb explode?" Lily managed a weak smile. "Something like that. It's my first day, and I've already ruined my outfit." "Don't worry, it's just juice," Chloe said, her voice reassuring. She rummaged in her oversized tote bag. "I think I have a stain stick in here somewhere." "Aha!" She pulled out a bright pink tube. "Let's see if this works." As Chloe worked on the stain, Lily started to relax. Just seeing a friendly face had calmed her nerves. "So, what are you doing here?" she asked, genuinely curious. Chloe paused, a strange expression flitting across her face. "Actually, this is kind of funny. My mom works here. She's a secretary, in, Mr. Sterling's office." Lily's jaw dropped. Mr. Sterling was the CEO of Sparkle Designs. "No way. Your mom works for Mr. Sterling?" Chloe nodded, her cheeks flushing slightly. "Yeah. It's complicated. She's been working here for ages." She capped the stained stick. "Okay, that's about the best we can do for now. It's still a little damp, but at least the color is fading." Lily examined her skirt. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely an improvement. "Thanks, Chloe, you're a lifesaver." "Seriously. I was about to have a full-blown meltdown." "Anytime," Chloe said, smiling. "Come on, I'll walk you to HR. My mom said she'd mention you were starting today. Plus," she lowered her voice conspiratorially, "I can give you the inside scoop on all the office gossip. Mrs. Sunshine's cloudy day." Lily found Mrs. Sunshine in the break room, not radiating her usual warmth. Instead, Carol Miller sat hunched over a mug, her shoulders shaking slightly. The aroma of stale coffee hung heavy in the air, doing little to lift the gloomy atmosphere. "Mrs. Miller? Are you okay?" Lily asked, her voice laced with concern. She set down her notepad and approached cautiously. Carol looked up, her eyes red-rimmed. A watery smile flickered across her face. "Oh, Lily. Hi, dear. Just a bit of a morning." She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue she pulled from her cardigan pocket. The fabric was a soft, faded yellow, a stark contrast to the storm brewing within her. Lily sat down beside her, the plastic chair groaning under her weight. "Anything I can do?" A fresh wave of tears welled up in Carol's eyes. "It's Mr. Stern. He's just impossible." Lily knew the name. Mr. Stern was the CEO, a figure whispered about in hushed tones in the hallways. Apparently, the whispers weren't just about his business acumen. He keeps piling on the work, deadlines are impossible, and he criticizes everything I do, even when I stay late to finish it all. He barely even looks at me, just barks orders. Carol's voice cracked, and she took a shaky sip of her coffee. I feel like I'm drowning, like I can never get it right. Lily's heart ached for her. She remembered Chloe's stories about her mom, about how she always put everyone else first, baking cookies for the school bake sale, volunteering at the local library. It seemed so unfair that someone so kind was being treated this way. He doesn't appreciate you, Mrs. Miller. That's his problem, not yours. Lily's voice was firm, surprising even herself. Carol sighed, the sound like air escaping a punctured balloon. Easy for you to say, dear. You're young, full of energy. I'm just tired. Lily's gaze drifted to the floral-patterned mug in Carol's hands. It was chipped around the rim, a small imperfection in an otherwise cheerful design. She had a sudden urge to fix it, to make it whole again. Maybe I could help. Carol looked at her, a flicker of hope in her weary eyes. Help how, Lily? You're just an intern. I don't know yet, Lily admitted, but I'm good at organizing, and I'm a fast learner. Maybe I can take some of the pressure off, learn some of the tasks. A daring plan started forming in her mind. Or maybe I can just be someone to listen when he's being, well, you know. Carol managed a weak smile. That would be nice, Lily. Just knowing someone understands. Lily squeezed her hand gently. The skin felt thin and delicate. I understand, Mrs. Miller. And I'm here for you. She knew that taking on Mr. Stern, even indirectly, was a risk. But seeing Mrs. Sunshine dimmed was simply unacceptable. She would find a way to bring back the light. Small gestures, big impact. The office's fluorescent tubes buzzed with a mechanical insistence that seemed to amplify the weariness in Mrs. Sunshine's sigh. Across the crowded desk, Lily noticed her, a cupcake perspiring slightly in her hand. The swirl of vanilla frosting, usually a comforting sight, seemed muted under the harsh glare. Tough start to the day. Lily ventured softly. Mrs. Sunshine started, sending a precarious tower of documents trembling. Lily. Didn't realize you were there. And yes, to say the least. Davenport needs that Peterson report on his desk by noon, and I'm at a loss to find the supplementary data. Her voice nearly broke on that final word. Offering the cupcake, Lily hoped for a smile. I thought this might help. Mrs. Sunshine eyed the treat as though it were a rescue raft. Oh, Lily, you shouldn't have gone to the trouble. Still, she accepted it, their fingers briefly connecting. A fragile smile touched her lips. It smells amazing. She nibbled tentatively, her eyes briefly fluttering shut. Pure bliss. Lily settled on the desk's edge, careful to avoid dislodging the precarious piles. Maybe I could lend a hand finding that data. A second pair of eyes, and all that. Mrs. Sunshine dabbed at the corners of her eyes with a tissue. Oh, darling, I wouldn't want to impose. Not imposing at all. I'm practically a professional finder of lost items. My brother made a sport of hiding my stuff. Lily began sorting through a stack of manila folders, the musty aroma of aged paper filling the air. The arrangement, or rather lack thereof, was immediately apparent. Perhaps a little reorganization might be in order. Mrs. Sunshine wrung her hands. Davenport insists on things exactly as he left them. But clearly, the current system isn't exactly efficient. Lily responded, a touch louder than intended. Subduing her tone, she continued, just a minor tweak. Alphabetical, perhaps. It would streamline the search next time. Mrs. Sunshine hesitated, then offered a tentative nod. All right. But if Davenport notices, I'll shoulder the blame, Lily assured her, already separating a group of folders. They labored in companionable silence for the following hour, punctuated only by the rustle of paper and the occasional wheeze of the copier. To Lily's surprise, she discovered a satisfying rhythm to the task, order gradually emerging from the disarray. Mrs. Sunshine, initially apprehensive, appeared to unwind, her shoulders gradually relaxing with each accurately placed folder. At last, Lily retrieved a crumpled folder from behind a collection of invoices. "Think I've located it." She held up a sheet clearly labeled, "Peterson account, supplemental data." Mrs. Sunshine's breath escaped in a grateful sigh. "Oh, Lily, you're a godsend. I've ransacked the entire office." Relief spread across her features, erasing the etched lines of worry. "Thank you, truly." Lily grinned. "Anytime, Mrs. Sunshine." "Besides," she added, gesturing toward the now orderly stacks, "it's an undeniable improvement, don't you think?" Mrs. Sunshine surveyed the desk, a sincere smile illuminating her face. "It is. It really, truly is. You know," she murmured, "you possess a remarkable kindness, Lily. I appreciate it more than words can say." The grumpy boss. Lily nearly collided with Mr. Stern in the hallway, her arms laden with sample fabrics. He didn't bark an order or offer a withering look, though. He simply stepped aside, his face etched with lines deeper than she'd noticed before. He mumbled a curt, "Excuse me," and hurried towards the break room, the scent of stale coffee clinging to his suit like a persistent shadow. Later, Lily found herself grabbing a yogurt from the communal refrigerator. Through the break room's smudged window, she saw Mr. Stern sitting alone at a table. He wasn't working, he wasn't on his phone. He was just eating. A sad, solitary figure hunched over a Tupperware container that looked suspiciously like leftovers. Usually, he powered through lunch at his desk, fueled by caffeine and an apparent aversion to human contact. The clatter of Lily's spoon against the yogurt cup seemed deafening in the sudden silence. She quickly finished and busied herself wiping down the counter, avoiding eye contact with the back of his head. The tension ratcheted up again in the afternoon. Lily was sorting through invoices when she heard Mr. Stern's voice, sharp and strained, coming from his office. The door wasn't quite closed. "I told you, the deadline is non-negotiable. I don't care about your extenuating circumstances. Get it done, or find someone who will." His voice dropped, becoming a low, furious rumble that Lily couldn't quite decipher. She imagined the veins throbbing in his temples, his knuckles white as he gripped the phone. She chewed on her lip, feeling a pang of something she couldn't quite name. Guilt? Pity? Or just plain curiosity? The call ended with a sharp click. Lily busied herself even more frantically with the invoices, shuffling them into neat, albeit inaccurate, piles. When he emerged from his office a few minutes later, his face was a mask. He strode past her desk without a word, heading towards the design studio. Lily watched him go, a knot forming in her stomach. He was always demanding, yes, but today there was something more to it. It wasn't just professional prickliness. It was unhappiness. Deep, bone-weary unhappiness. She glanced at Bethany's mom, Carol, who was typing furiously at her computer. Carol, usually a fountain of office gossip, seemed deliberately oblivious. Lily wondered if she knew something, if this was the usual Mr. Stern, amplified by some unseen pressure. Lily sighed, rearranging the invoices for the third time. What made a man like Robert Stern so relentlessly grumpy? Was it just his personality, a permanent scowl etched onto his soul? Or was there something else, something hidden beneath the tailored suits and the sharp tongue? Maybe, just maybe, there was a reason for the storm cloud that constantly hovered over his head. And maybe, just maybe, Lily was starting to care. A helping hand with tech. Lily navigated the maze of cubicles, a precarious stack of files threatening to spill with every turn. She was headed back from the supply room, the scent of freshly printed paper clinging to her clothes, when she heard it, a low, guttural growl emanating from Mr. Stern's usually silent office. Peeking inside, she found him hunched over his computer, brow furrowed, knuckles white as he gripped the mouse. The large monitor glowed with an intricate, half-finished architectural design, riddled with error messages. Everything all right, Mr. Stern? She asked tentatively, shuffling forward. The files wobbled. He startled, swiveling in his chair, his expression a mixture of annoyance and something else. Defeat, maybe? No, Ms. Hernandez, everything is decidedly not all right. This blasted software is fighting me every step of the way. I swear, I've lost 3 hours to this digital demon. He stabbed a finger at the screen. Lily recognized the program, a notoriously temperamental CAD suite. She'd spent countless nights wrestling with it during her late-night design classes. Maybe I could take a look. The offer felt audacious, like volunteering to defuse a bomb. Mr. Stern hesitated, his gaze flickering between her and the screen. She could practically see the internal debate raging, pride versus progress. Finally, he sighed, a sound like air escaping a punctured tire. I suppose it couldn't hurt. Just, don't make it worse. Carefully setting the files on a nearby desk, Lily approached the computer. The error messages were indeed daunting, a tangled web of coding jargon. But as she examined the design, she noticed a recurring pattern, a slight inconsistency in the layering that was likely the culprit. I think I see the problem, she said, her voice gaining confidence. It looks like there's a conflict in the z-axis. The program is having trouble rendering these intersecting planes. Mr. Stern watched, arms crossed, as Lily swiftly navigated the program, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She adjusted the layer priorities, tweaked the rendering settings, and purged unnecessary geometry. The error messages began to disappear, one by one, until the screen displayed a clean, flawless design. A silence descended, broken only by the hum of the computer. Mr. Stern stared at the monitor, then at Lily. A flicker of something akin to surprise, maybe even gratitude, crossed his face. Well, he said, clearing his throat. I'll be. You actually fixed it. Lily flushed, a smile creeping onto her face. Just a few tweaks. I've worked with this program a lot. He leaned back in his chair, studying her. I must say, Ms. Hernandez, I underestimated your abilities. He paused, searching for the right word. Thank you. You've saved me a considerable amount of time. Anytime, Mr. Stern, Lily said, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't just a clumsy intern, fumbling with files. Maybe she had something to offer, after all. Maybe he wasn't just a stern boss, either. He was just someone who needed a hand. As she turned to leave, he stopped her. Ms. Hernandez. She turned back, heart quickening slightly. Perhaps you could show me some of those tweaks later. During your lunch break, perhaps. Lily nodded, a genuine smile now lighting up her face. I'd be happy to, Mr. Stern. Working together. The aroma of roasted coffee beans hung thick in the air as Lily entered Mr. Stern's office, a far cry from the sterile smell of the reception area. He gestured to the chair opposite his desk, a mountain of papers threatening to spill onto the floor. All right, Hernandez, let's tackle this marketing campaign. We need something fresh. Lily perched on the edge of the chair, notepad and pen ready. What about a social media campaign showcasing the craftsmanship behind each piece? Short videos, maybe interviews with the artisans. Mr. Stern steepled his fingers, his gaze fixed on a point somewhere over Lily's head. Interesting. But everyone does that. We need an angle. Something unexpected. He swiveled his chair, revealing a whiteboard covered in scribbled notes and diagrams. I had an idea about partnering with a local art gallery, showcasing our furniture alongside contemporary sculptures. Juxtaposition, you see. High art meets functional design. Lily's eyes widened. That's brilliant. She scribbled furiously, trying to capture the essence of his idea. We could even host a launch event, invite local influencers, art critics. Enthusiasm bubbled inside her, a stark contrast to the apprehension she usually felt in his presence. He actually smiled, a brief, almost imperceptible upturn of his lips. See, Hernandez. You're not entirely useless. He turned back to his desk, shuffling through a stack of papers. Here. He slid a large sketch pad across the desk. These are some preliminary designs for a new line of chairs. Take a look. Lily gasped. The sketches were intricate, detailed, each stroke conveying a sense of fluidity and grace. They were more than just furniture designs, they were works of art. These are incredible, Mr. Stern. I had no idea you were a designer. He shrugged, a hint of embarrassment coloring his cheeks. It's a hobby. Something I do in my spare time. He quickly changed the subject, launching into a technical discussion about materials and ergonomics. Later that afternoon, as Lily was organizing the sample fabrics in the design library, Chloe sauntered in, a mischievous glint in her eyes. So, she drawled, leaning against a shelf, how's it going with Prince Charming? Lily's face flushed. He's not Prince Charming. We're just working together. Chloe chuckled. Aha. And I'm sure all that working together involves lots of staring into each other's eyes and holding hands under the table. Chloe. Lily protested, swatting her arm playfully. It's nothing like that. He's just surprisingly creative. And he actually listens to my ideas. Creative, huh? Maybe he's sketching you in his free time, Chloe teased, wiggling her eyebrows. Don't say I didn't warn you when you two are eloping to Vegas. Lily rolled her eyes, a smile playing on her lips. You're ridiculous. But as she returned to her work, a flicker of something she couldn't quite name sparked within her. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to Mr. Stern than met the eye. And maybe, just maybe, Chloe was right about something for once. The fading grump. The scent of burnt coffee still clung to the air from Mr. Stern's morning mishap, but today, it didn't feel quite so oppressive. Lily hummed a tuneless melody as she filed papers, a task that yesterday had felt akin to alphabetizing dust motes. She'd even managed to avoid tripping over the perpetually misplaced rug near the water cooler. Progress. Mr. Stern emerged from his office, a stack of architectural blueprints clutched in his hand. He looked less thunderous. Instead of his usual scowl, there was a faint crease between his brows, like he was trying to remember where he'd left his reading glasses. Lily, emboldened by a solid night's sleep and a surprisingly cooperative toaster, decided to test the waters. Morning, Mr. Stern. Those look complicated. Designing a skyscraper to withstand a zombie apocalypse? He stopped, his gaze focusing on her. For a moment, Lily feared she'd overstepped. Then, the corner of his mouth quirked. A smile. Fleeting, almost imperceptible, but undeniably there. Something like that, he mumbled, before disappearing into the conference room. Lily blinked. Had she imagined it? Later, while attempting to explain the intricacies of the new filing system to Mrs. Sunshine, Lily knocked over a precarious tower of empty coffee cups. They clattered to the floor with a resounding crash. Mortified, Lily began scrambling to gather the scattered cups, her cheeks burning. Oh, dear, are you all right, Lily? Mrs. Sunshine fretted, her hand fluttering to her chest. Fine, fine, Lily mumbled, her voice muffled by a rogue paper cup. Just a bit, clumsy. Suddenly, a deep chuckle resonated from the doorway. Mr. Stern stood there, a genuine laugh rumbling in his chest. Don't worry, Hernandez. We've all been there. Reminds me of the time I tried to, well, never mind. He actually laughed. And then, he stopped himself from telling a story. Progress, indeed. Mrs. Sunshine's eyes widened behind her oversized glasses. She looked from Lily to Mr. Stern and back again, a perplexed expression on her face. Mr. Stern, she breathed, are you smiling? He cleared his throat, the laughter lines around his eyes softening his features. Just, admiring Hernandez's dedication to office cleanliness. He winked, actually winked, at Lily before retreating back into his office, leaving Mrs. Sunshine staring after him in stunned silence. As Lily stacked the last of the cups, Mrs. Sunshine leaned closer, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. He's different. Calmer. Less growly. She paused, considering. Like the sun's finally peeking through the clouds. A hopeful smile blossomed on her face. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to change around here. And maybe, just maybe, Lily Hernandez had something to do with it. The big presentation. The conference room felt colder than usual, the air conditioning blasting as if to freeze away any lingering doubt. Lily adjusted her blazer, the fabric suddenly feeling too tight. Mr. Stern, a whirlwind of nervous energy, paced in front of the projected slides, his tie askew. Okay, Lily, run through the market analysis again. Emphasize the potential for growth in the Gen Z demographic. He didn't look at her, his gaze fixed on the intricate bar graphs shimmering on the screen. She cleared her throat. Right. So, as you can see, Gen Z. She launched into the data, but her voice wavered. He stopped pacing abruptly. Lily, you sound like you're reading a grocery list. This is about passion. About innovation. This market analysis is the key to unlocking millions. Lily's face burned. I know, Mr. Stern. It's just, a lot of pressure. He softened slightly, running a hand through his already disheveled hair. Look, I know I push you hard. But you have a knack for understanding this stuff. You see the stories behind the numbers. Trust your instincts. He paused, a rare moment of vulnerability flickering across his face. I need you to be confident. They practiced for another hour, Lily finding her rhythm, her voice gaining strength with each run-through. Mr. Stern offered specific pointers, his initial gruffness replaced by focused encouragement. He even cracked a small smile when she ad-libbed a particularly insightful point. The day of the presentation dawned gray and overcast, mirroring the knot of anxiety in Lily's stomach. She arrived early, triple-checking the technology, arranging the water glasses just so. Mrs. Davison, her blonde friend Chloe's mom, gave her a sympathetic smile and a thumbs up from behind her desk. That simple gesture helped to calm Lily's nerves. The room filled quickly with potential investors, their faces a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Mr. Stern stood tall, his usual reserve replaced by a palpable excitement. He began, his voice commanding and confident. Lily sat beside him, ready to jump in with the market analysis. When her cue came, she rose smoothly, projecting an assurance she didn't quite feel. But as she spoke, the data flowed, the story of Gen Z consumers unfolding with clarity and passion. She saw heads nodding, pens scribbling furiously. Mr. Stern watched her, a subtle nod of approval flashing in his eyes. The presentation concluded with a flurry of enthusiastic questions. Mr. Stern handled most of them, but when one investor pressed for more detail on a specific trend, he turned to Lily. Ms. Hernandez has been instrumental in developing this aspect of our strategy. Lily? She answered the question concisely and confidently, the room falling silent as she spoke. Afterwards, a buzz of excited chatter filled the room. Investors lined up to shake Mr. Stern's hand, peppering him with inquiries. As the crowd thinned, Mr. Stern turned to Lily, a genuine smile gracing his lips. That was excellent, Lily. Thank you. He paused, then added, louder than necessary, Ms. Hernandez's contributions were invaluable to this presentation's success. A real asset to the team. Lily blushed, a wave of warmth washing over her. It wasn't just the praise, it was the acknowledgement. The feeling of being seen, truly seen, by Mr. Stern. Maybe, just maybe, this internship was going to be more than just a job. Ice cream and dreams. The last of the invoices were filed. The celebratory pizza boxes lay flattened in the recycling bin, a testament to their collective victory. Mr. Stern, usually a man of clipped sentences and curt directions, cleared his throat. Hernandez, he said, his voice surprisingly gentle, fancy an ice cream? Lily, still buzzing from the adrenaline of meeting the deadline, blinked. Ice cream. Now. He actually smiled, a fleeting, almost shy expression that transformed his face. It's a tradition. Every time we land a big account. Though, usually, I end up celebrating alone. Mrs. Sunshine, who was meticulously wiping down her desk, looked up, her eyes twinkling. Oh, go on, Lily. You deserve it. And Robert needs the company. She gave Lily a subtle, almost imperceptible wink. The sun was beginning its slow descent as they strolled down the block to Sweet Surrender, a local ice cream parlor. The air smelled of waffle cones and sugary dreams. Mr. Stern ordered a double scoop of Rocky Road, while Lily opted for a vibrant swirl of strawberry cheesecake. They sat at a small, wrought-iron table outside. The sounds of the city, car horns, distant sirens, snippets of conversations, faded into a comforting background hum. So, Mr. Stern began, licking his spoon, "What are your plans, Hernandez? After the internship, I mean." Lily shrugged, suddenly feeling self-conscious under his gaze. "I don't know. Graduate, hopefully. Maybe find a real job. Something impactful." Impactful, he repeated, considering the word. "What does that mean to you?" "I want to make a difference," she said, her voice gaining conviction. "Help people, solve problems. Maybe work in urban planning, create green spaces, something like that." She paused, realizing she was revealing more than she usually did. "What about you, Mr. Stern? What's your dream?" He looked out at the bustling street, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. "To build something that lasts. Something beautiful. Something meaningful." He took another bite of his ice cream, the silence hanging heavy between them. "Stern Designs. I want it to be synonymous with quality. Not just in the work we produce, but in the way we treat people." Lily caught his eye. "You mean like Mrs. Sunshine?" A faint blush crept up his neck. "Exactly." As the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Lily realized something had shifted. It wasn't just the sugar rush talking. She liked him. Really liked him. Not as a boss, not as a mentor, but as something more. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Mrs. Sunshine, who had been observing them from the office window, smiled knowingly to herself. She gathered her purse, her heart lighter than it had been in weeks. Maybe, just maybe, things were finally looking up.